Drive through almost any neighborhood with pools this summer and you'll notice something. A lot of those backyards look tired. Equipment that's running wrong, water that's never quite right, features that made total sense when they were installed and are now just a constant source of headaches. I've spent a lot of time in this world, and the number of pool owners who are quietly spending way more than they should because of mistakes that are completely avoidable is honestly kind of staggering. So today I'm going through the 10 pool mistakes that end up costing homeowners the most money. Some of them are bleeding your wallet right now and you probably don't even know it. And one of them, the one I saved for last, is something almost every single pool owner does at some point. Even people who think they're doing everything right. We're going 10 down to 1. Stay for number 1. It's worth it. Number 10. Above ground pools. And look, I get it, they're everywhere right now. And honestly, the pitch is hard to argue with. No major construction, no permit process, no contractor. You order it online, it shows up, you fill it with water, and you're swimming by the weekend. That's genuinely appealing. But here's what most people find out the hard way. A lot of cities, counties, and HOAs have real rules about this stuff. Permit requirements, minimum fence heights, how far the pool has to sit from your property line. Some areas actually require a building permit just for a temporary above ground setup, and some HOAs flat out don't allow them at all. The problem is, nobody tells you any of that when you're clicking the buy button. I've heard of homeowners spending most of their summer in back and forth with their HOA over a pool they paid a few $100s for. At some point, the stress isn't worth it anymore. And if you've already filled the thing up when you get that letter, now you're paying to bring it into compliance, or drain it and take it down, or just dealing with fines while you sort it out. 20 minutes of research before you buy saves all of that. Call your local building department. Ask specifically about above ground pools. Check your HOA docs if you have them. Find out what the fence requirements are, because almost everywhere that allows a pool also requires some kind of barrier around it. Do that first, then buy the pool. That one's mostly just frustrating. The next one, at number 9, is where it starts actually costing you real money, and it's something happening every single month. Number 9, pump runtime. Your pool pump is almost certainly the biggest thing adding to your electricity bill, and most pool owners are running it wrong in one direction or the other. Either they're running it way too long because they're nervous about the water quality, or they're cutting it short trying to save money. Both end up being the wrong call. Here's the actual rule. Your pump needs to turn over the full volume of your pool water once every 24 hours. That's it. If you've got a 15,000 gallon pool and your pump moves around 50 gallons a minute, you're looking at roughly 5 hours of runtime to do the job. 5 hours. A lot of homeowners are running theirs for 10 or 12 hours a day without realizing that's probably double what they actually need. And at the average cost of electricity, that's hundreds of dollars a year just going down the drain. There's another piece to this too. If you're still on an old single speed pump, it runs at full power every single time, no exceptions. A variable speed pump can do the same job at a fraction of the energy. The upfront cost is higher, yes, but most people find the payback is under 2 years, and after that, you're just saving money every month. Figure out your pool's volume, calculate your real turnover time, set the timer accordingly. And if you're still on a single speed pump, it might be worth running the numbers on replacing it sooner rather than later. That one's a slow bleed every month. Number 8, you'll feel the first time you try to get your chemicals balanced and can't figure out why nothing is working. Number 8, not paying attention to cyanuric acid. Number 8, and I'll be honest, most pool owners I talk to have never even heard of this one, which is a big part of why it causes so many problems. Those chlorine tablets most people use, the ones you drop in a floater or toss in the skimmer basket, they contain something called cyanuric acid. Every tablet you add is also adding more of it to your water, and cyanuric acid at the right level is actually a good thing. It protects chlorine from getting burned off by UV sunlight. Useful stuff. The issue is that it builds up over time, and there's a point where it goes from helpful to a real problem. Once it gets above about 80 parts per million, it starts essentially holding your chlorine hostage. Your test strips will show chlorine is present. The water looks perfectly clear. But that chlorine isn't actually doing its job anymore. It's just sitting there. And that's when people start getting ear infections, skin rashes, stuff like that. The pool tests fine, looks fine, but it's not actually sanitized. The only real fix at that point is to partially drain the pool and refill with fresh water, which costs money, wastes time, and then you go right back to using the same tablets and start the cycle again. So test for cyanuric acid specifically. Most basic test strips don't include it, so you'll want a proper liquid test kit or just take a water sample to your pool store. Keep it between 30 and 50 parts per million. If it's already high, switch to unstabilized chlorine for a while. This one's invisible until it becomes a real problem. Number 7 is the same way, except it's underground and it can run for months before you catch it. Number 7, pool leaks. Your pool is going to lose water. That's just a fact of owning one. In hot weather, you can lose a solid inch a week just to evaporation, sometimes more. Most pool owners know this and don't think twice about topping it off. And that's exactly why a slow plumbing leak is so easy to miss. It looks the same. The water level drops, you add water, it drops again, you assume it's the heat. Meanwhile, there's a cracked fitting somewhere underground or a pinhole in a return line, and water has been quietly soaking into the soil around your pool for weeks. If that happens to be near your foundation, that's a serious problem. If it's under your deck, the base underneath is slowly being undermined. Most homeowners only find out something's actually wrong when the water bill shows up, and by then, the leak has usually been going for a while. There's a really simple way to check. It's called the bucket test. Fill a bucket with pool water, set it on a step inside the pool, and mark the water level on both the bucket and the pool wall at the same time. Leave it alone for 24 hours. If the pool drops significantly more than the bucket, you've got a leak. Not evaporation, an actual leak. If you do find one, get a pool leak detection specialist in. They can pressurize the lines and find exactly where it is without tearing up your whole yard. Catching it early is a much easier fix than catching it late. That one hides on you. Number 6 is something people are adding to their pools right now, thinking it's going to make their lives easier. Number 6, robotic pool cleaners. The pitch on these things is really good. Drop it in the water, press a button, come back to a clean pool. No manual vacuuming, no messing with hoses, just a clean pool waiting for you. For anyone who spent a sweaty afternoon pushing a vacuum around a pool, yeah, the idea is pretty irresistible. But here's the thing, not every robotic cleaner works well in every pool. Some of them genuinely struggle with steeper walls. Some get confused by certain step configurations and just sit there spinning. Some don't perform well in larger pools because their navigation starts breaking down at size. And some have cables that tangle constantly if the setup isn't just right. Buy the wrong one and you've spent anywhere from $600 to $1,500 on a machine that gets stuck in the corner and misses half the floor. And returning something that heavy after it's been in your pool isn't always a simple process. Before you buy, know your pool's exact dimensions and shape. Know your surface type, and then go read the reviews, but don't look at the overall star rating. Go straight to the 1 and 2 star reviews. That's where the real information lives. That's where you'll find out this doesn't handle a pool deeper than 8 feet, or the cable tangles every single time. The right robotic cleaner is genuinely one of the best things you can buy for a pool. The wrong one is just expensive frustration. That one costs you up front. Number 5 costs you every single season if you don't fix it. Number 5, over-treating. Walk into any pool supply store with a problem and you're going to leave with something to add to your water. That's kind of how those stores work. And most pool owners, especially when they're new to it, end up with a collection of bottles and bags under the deck. Shock, algicide, clarifier, phosphate remover, water balancer, one for every possible problem. And when the water looks off, they start adding things. The issue is that pool chemicals interact with each other. Adding a clarifier to water with the wrong pH doesn't help, it just creates a different problem. Shocking a pool without first dealing with high cyanuric acid levels doesn't fix the water, it just wastes the shock. Algicide on top of a filtration problem masks the symptom while the actual cause keeps building underneath. Test first, every single time. A good liquid test kit covers pH, free chlorine, combined chlorine, total alkalinity, calcium hardness, and cyanuric acid. Fix things in the right order. pH and alkalinity first, then sanitizer, then anything else. And if you're genuinely not sure what's going on, take a water sample to your pool store. Most of them will test it for free and tell you exactly what to add. Let the test tell you what the water needs. Don't guess. Hey, if this is already saving you money, hit like and subscribe. We're only halfway through, and it gets worse. You'll want to save this one. Number 4 is the only one on this list that goes beyond money. Number 4, pool fencing. I want to be straightforward with you on this one. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for children under 5 in the United States. A pool without a proper barrier is a real danger, not a theoretical one. And I'm not going to soften that because it's uncomfortable. But even if you set that aside for a moment, which you really shouldn't, the legal exposure here is enormous. If someone is injured or drowns in an unprotected pool on your property, the liability is severe. In a lot of states, a proper pool barrier isn't just a good idea, it's the law. And if an accident happens and your fence doesn't meet code, there's a real chance your homeowner's insurance won't cover it. I know why people skip it or cut corners. The fence breaks up the yard. It blocks the view. It feels like it ruins the aesthetic you were going for. That's a real feeling, and I understand it. But modern pool fencing options have come a long way. Frameless glass panels, clean aluminum picket designs, removable mesh systems that go up and come down easily. A lot of these actually look really good around a pool. Check your local code, know what height is required, how the latch has to work, how far it needs to be from the water's edge, and then just do it right. There's no version of this mistake that's worth the alternative. Number 3 surprises people because it seems too basic to matter. Number 3, brushing. I know, it sounds almost too simple to be on a list like this, but that's honestly why so many people skip it and why so many people end up with algae problems they can't seem to shake. Here's what's actually happening in your pool water. Algae doesn't just appear one day as a green cloud. It starts weeks earlier as a thin layer you can't even see, slowly attaching to the walls, the floor, the corners, around the steps. By the time the water actually starts turning green, the algae is already well established, and getting it out at that point means shocking the pool, adding algicide, running the pump around the clock, and brushing for hours. Days of work and real money spent. Brush twice a week and that whole situation doesn't happen. Even a quick 5-minute pass breaks up that early growth before it has a chance to take hold. It also keeps calcium deposits from building up along the water line, and it pushes settled debris toward the main drain where your filter can actually catch it. A nylon brush on a telescoping pole costs about $15. 5 minutes twice a week. The pool owners who never seem to deal with algae aren't just lucky, they're doing this consistently while everyone else waits for the problem to show up. Almost nothing on this list costs less to do right. Number 2 is the opposite of that. It's the most neglected piece of equipment in most pools, and when it finally fails, it takes everything else with it. Number 2, the filter. Your filter is quietly doing more work than anything else in your pool system. Every bit of debris, every contaminant, every particle that doesn't belong in the water passes through it. It's the reason your water stays clear, and it is, by a significant margin, the most neglected piece of equipment most pool owners have. There are 3 types of filters you'll encounter: sand, cartridge, and DE, which stands for diatomaceous earth. Each one needs to be maintained differently and has a different lifespan. Sand filters are the most common. Most people know they need to backwash them every so often. What most people don't know is that the sand itself eventually becomes coated with calcium and oils and stops filtering properly, even right after you backwash it. The sand needs to be replaced every 5 to 7 years or so. Ask most pool owners when they last replaced theirs, and you'll get a long pause. Cartridge filters need to be hosed off every few weeks during swim season and given a proper soak and filter cleaner a couple times a year. Most people rinse them once in spring and then wonder why the water looks hazy in August. A filter that's past its service life or running clogged isn't just doing a bad job. It's making your pump work harder than it should, which shortens the pump's life and drives up your electricity costs. Your water looks fine until it suddenly doesn't, and at that point, the damage to the rest of the equipment has usually already happened. Know what filter you have, look up its maintenance schedule, set a reminder, take care of it before it becomes the thing that takes everything else down with it. Okay, we're at number 1. I saved this for last because it is the single mistake that makes every other mistake on this list harder to fix. And the worst part is, most people make it while thinking they're making the smart financial decision. Number 1, the build itself. Every single thing on this list, the chemicals, the filtration, the plumbing, the equipment, all of it becomes dramatically harder to manage when the pool underneath all of it was built wrong to begin with. And here's the uncomfortable truth about the pool industry. It's not heavily regulated in most states. Just about anyone can call themselves a pool builder. Licensing requirements are all over the place depending on where you live, and when you're sitting at a table looking at 3 quotes and one of them is $10,000 or $15,000 cheaper than the others, that gap looks really attractive. Pools are expensive, the money is real, so people go with the low number. Here's what that often looks like a few years down the road. Gunite that wasn't applied correctly develops cracks, and those cracks let water escape into the soil around the pool. A structural shell that wasn't built right can shift over time, especially somewhere with cold winters or heavy clay soil. A pool deck that wasn't graded properly sends water back toward your house instead of away from it. Plumbing that was never pressure tested before the yard was filled back in develops slow leaks you can't see or reach without digging. I've heard of homeowners spending more money fixing a pool that was cheaply built than the discount they saved by hiring that contractor in the first place, sometimes a lot more. Before you sign with anyone, check their license through your state contractors board. Read their reviews, but specifically look for ones from projects that are at least 3 years old. Anyone can have great reviews in the first year. Ask for references and actually call them. Ask those people what went wrong and how it was handled, not just whether they're happy with the pool. Get the construction timeline in writing, and if you can, have a third-party inspector look at the work before the yard gets filled back in. Your pool is going to be in your backyard for 20, maybe 30 years. The decision you make when you hire someone to build it is going to affect every single summer between now and then. Get that part right. Everything else is fixable. So there they are, 10 mistakes that cost pool owners real money. And if you've already got 1 or 2 of these going on in your backyard right now, that's okay. Most of them are fixable. Test your water properly. Look at your pump runtime. Check the filter. Make sure the fence is right. Your pool is supposed to be the best part of summer, the place you actually want to be, not a weekend project you can never quite get ahead of. Before you buy something, before you install something, before you build something, just make sure it's going to work for you 5 years from now, not just on day 1. Which one of these hit closest to home? Drop it in the comments. I read all of them and I genuinely want to know what you're dealing with out there. If this was useful, hit like and subscribe. More of this coming. Pool care, outdoor living, all of it. See you in the next one.